Hey there everyone, I'm Shovelcat and welcome to the January 25th EU 2v2 Pro Cup. This is one loss remake K versus what on the cold team. And they're of course going to be playing on Dubaku's Fallen Forest. Halbu playing Stormcaller, so I'm a little bit excited to see. I haven't watched very many games with a high level Stormcaller, especially not in a pro tournament scene, so I definitely want to see what happens here. Definitely, my opinion is that Metal Wardens are pretty not a very good matchup against Stormcallers. Habu, however, is taking quite a bit of damage from this matchup. He is healed back up. And right here we have the warm team and the cold team kind of splitting each other up. Nobody's grabbed the rune yet. We do see an EX base from Jan25thEU, however that is pronounced there. Of course, reputation for mispronounced people's names. Nice combo there from Halbu. Does put out a lot of damage on Mammoot's and forces the other side. Yui is going to have to move out of there. This is, of course, splitting the team up, having to use an EX base in order to get out of there once again. Halbu getting pretty close to ultimate. Once again, there he goes. He might use it right about now, especially since some of the outs have been used. See it getting kind of comboed up. There's the other side. He might use it right now. There it goes, down on Mammoot's, and taking Mammoot's down to about 25% health. I have the Storm used on Yui in order to burst down Mammoot's, using Hailstorm in order to block the retreat. So at this point, Cold Team seriously in the trail here. Jangmao using his ultimate in order to heal himself back up. Other side force from Yui here. And nice space there from Halbu, in fact. Does get him out of that EXQ. We do see that Cold Team is actually chip damaging Warm Team at this point and could potentially get back the advantage. Nice in-cap there, does interrupt the ultimate. And then EX space does take that ultimate away, but unfortunately for Mammoot's, he was still stuck in the tail end of that ultimate and that killed him dead. So congratulations to the Warm Team. One loss, we remake K for finishing up this first round. That one was pretty intense right there, to be sure. We'll see what the response of the Cold Team is for this round. Mammoot's maybe typing a little bit there. So that's going to give Warm Team a really advanced position on this rune. Of course, we did see it not get taken very quickly the first time around. And it might actually be taken a little bit quicker here. And Halbu deciding not to pick up on that rune. Deciding instead to give it to his healer there. And a offensive positioning from the other side there. Mammoot's pushing Halbu into the cold spawn. And using that EX space, and Jangmao actually does get out of there. A nice positioning here surrounding the Cold Team. At this point, Jangmao getting comboed up from an in-cap into a spell block. Yui going down to about 15% health using an ultimate from Halbu. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. And that could be a bad position for Halbu, who did go down quite a bit of health at that point there. Getting stuck in that Metal Warden's ultimate does not help either. He's down to about 50% health. Could see an ultimate from Yui at this point. Nice fear from Jangmao is going to actually take both teams away from each other. And Yui getting trapped in that corner. They're going to have to zoom out again. And using the EX space and using an EX sphere, Jangmao does get back into the fight here. And another other side from Yui. And Mammoot's down to 15% again. Let's see if he does indeed go down. He gets CC'd there. Halbu could be using his ultimate. He didn't actually have a set plan on who he was going to ultimate at that point. But it still ended up on the kill for Mammoot's. Nice. I'm just looking at his armored Stormcaller there. I do want, definitely, big fan of that skin myself. So 2 rounds in a row for Warm Team. We'll see what's going to happen next here. Mostly even positioning from both teams. The Warm Team does grab the advantage on the rune here. And a CC is going to mean that Mammoot's is CC'd around the same time that the rune comes up. Of course, delayed reaction there. And Yui, of course, taking a huge amount of damage there. Very nice M1 span coming from Halbu. Manages to, I think that was juking that spell block there. And dodges the meteor shard. And Mammoot's not getting any heals at this point here could cause him to be going down to chip damage. And a double ultimate from Warm Team. Not all that much damage from him. In fact, Halbu might go down to this point. He does pop the lightning shield, and maybe even an Aegis there for a little while. Mammoot's getting stunned by that hailstorm. Was a bad position for him to be in. And Halbu could go down to this ultimate here. Does decide to space out of it. A ultimate from Yui. Probably not going to do all that much. But Jing Mao actually in trouble here. He could go down to just about anything. Chip damage. And there goes down Halbu. So right here we're looking for any kind of pressure or anything will definitely take down Jang. And definitely having your Orb of Darkness being spellblocked is not a good thing right there. And he's trying to line of sight using this pillar here. Definitely wasted fear right there. He's got his ultimate, so if that space would have been a perfect opportunity for him to take out the Metal Warden. But he, of course, didn't know that it had been used and he was coming around the corner. So, Cold Team does manage to grab their first round. Could see a turning around point from right this point. Exactly. And don't know what's going to happen here. Of course, Stormcaller does outrange Metal Warden with his M1s, and he can actually silence you at any point that he wants to. So that's definitely why I agree that that is a confrontation that favors him. Of course, Mammoot's getting stuck in a meteor shard right there. Doesn't help him all that much. Halbu a little bit too far forward for a ranged character, but that is kind of the way that you play Stormcaller. And if we do see a shield directly on Yui right there, we could see, there we go, an ultimate. It's the potential of being a double right there. And Yui's going to use his other side right there. Does get knocked out of the leash, and his CC was spell blocked at that point, so there was not all that much that Halbu could do. Nice space from Jang. Does get him out of that leash without any problems whatsoever. He's going to, no, in fact, he's not going to use that pillar again. In fact, he's just going to kite up here, maybe do an M2, then there's the insects, and Yui's just deciding to heal up right over there. That was a good choice, and another space from Jang is going to get him out of that leash once again. And we see them still using this pillar in order to kind of put the Cold Team that is, at a disadvantage, force them to 1v1 him, at least for a couple of seconds at a time, so that he can win one engagement or two against one of the opponents, and then switch over to the other one and win an engagement against them. Preferably if you go up against a DPSer and they can't heal themselves, which unfortunately a tank can't. So, this whole time we have been seeing Warm Team be very aggressive on that rune placement, and that is of course giving them a little bit of advantage. Of course, Blood Priest with energy is a very good advantage to have. CC on Yui does trigger a little bit of attempt at burst damage, but Mammoot's had a shield in order to go up against that. We could see an EXQ right here, but nope, Mammoot's decides not to go for it. Every time Yui gets CC'd, Halbu decides to go in with the silence onto Mammoot's. We could see, nope, does not decide to ultimate Mammoot's, even though he had already used his space at that point right there. Could see maybe a ultimate from Halbu, but other side is still up, most likely. Mammoot's does go down to 15% health. There's the other side. There's a stun onto Yui to keep him down for just a little bit of space coming from Halbu, so he could be potential to burst right about now. And Warm Team being stuck up against this wall is not too good for them. The spell block on the CC there, and Jang is going to pop his ultimate. Mammoot's using shield in order to take off the bugs, Not sure why Helbu was using his EXQ right there. Spell block on the Blood Shield, and Meteor into ultimate. Other side was not saving Mammoth, so he goes down. And there we go. Hailstorm and Bugs does not... it gives you quite a bit of tick damage, so down goes Yui. Very, very intense ending to that particular round there. A lot of different combo abilities, very, very synergetic combos that we have on both of these teams here. And once again, the Worm team seems to combo up their AoEs in the very beginning there. When you see the Fear go out and the Hailstorm go out at about the same time, it always has the effect of pushing back the team. Halbu taking 25% damage. He does get it healed back up, so he's not going to have too much of a problem here. Mammoths, though, is taking chip damage, and there's the ultimate from Halbu. Could go up at any time. Decides to use the Meteor instead. Mammoth still seems to be the target of all of the damage. This positioning from Halbu does actually give him a line of sighting against the cold team, so that was good positioning right there. And another ultimate from Jang is going to follow that up. Mammoth's going down to about 25% health, that is. And Halbu using another ultimate, barely any damage came out of that. Yui down to 15% health, though. That is definitely good for him. And other side goes out on Mammoth's, space from Mammoth's, and he's in a bad position right here. And he might want to get out of there. He does get CC'd, which is actually good for him. But Yui does go down very quickly after that. So Worm Team is doing a good job when they are separating the Cold Team by CCing one of them and then immediately switching on to the other one, trying to do as much burst damage to that person as possible. When the CC falls off, they just back off a little bit, let their cooldowns come back off of cooldown, and wait for the whole process all over again. That is a intelligent and very defensive kind of style, and it does work with a lot of different compositions. Not sure why Halbu is moving back here. There might be some chat going on. In fact, I'm very sure that there's some kind of chat going on. I actually do have chat disabled, so we're just going to hit exit and figure out... Oh, apparently there was lag. People warp. Did you alt-tab? Packet loss, but you never lag. Go in, all freeze dead. Sec, please. You all moonwalk. Okay, go. So, yeah. Apparently there was lag in this game. Unfortunately, yes, there have been a lot of issues with this game lately. Cold Team, I'm not sure. I didn't see who grabbed the rune, so that's a little bit of an issue there. Cold Team, though, does have very aggressive positioning here. They might be able to grab the advantage here. 400 damage going on Mammoths there. That was due to a Meteor, in fact. And another combo coming from Mammoths. Halbu going down to about 15% health. Once again, Mammoths grabbing the rune. He does have his ultimate. Does decide to use it on Jang right there. And split up teams right there. Halbu deciding to use his ultimate when Mammoths was CC'd, so he couldn't do any kind of counter pressure there. This game is going very evenly right here. And Mammoths might decide to... Nope, does not decide to heal up, even though he had the position to. And could see an ultimate from Jang right here. Mammoths... going down to about 25% health, does get other sided. I'm not sure where Yui's going there. He might have been just healing up for a second. Halbu is in definitely a bad position there, getting healed up, definitely. Uses his EXQ in order to reduce damage by 75%. Mammoth's going down to about 15% health there too. Almost gets healed there, uses his space. A whiffed hailstorm from Halbu does not definitely help him all that much. Yui probably healing with his medallion right there. And CC on Mammoths does cause Yui to go back. He's caught onto the pattern of one of us gets DPS'd while the other is CC'd. So Cold Team, they're just definitely grabbing all of the energy runes. They have the health advantage, it seems. Not the recovery health, only the normal health here, so they could potentially win in the fog, especially since they have the energy advantage with Yui's ultimate. But he decides to use an EX space to put Jang in the fog, and Mammoths could go down. He's very low, does get knocked back by insects. Jang could go down. There he goes. A counter kill onto Mammoths, and down goes Yui at the last second. That was definitely a lot of clutch plays from both players, from both teams, and that will finish up this game. So congratulations to I lost or one loss. We remake K. They are going to the second round. Very GG. And we're going to go look at the second game for the first round right now. And welcome back to game number 2. This is Bullet Hell on the Warm team. And on the Cold team, we have Satnus667 and I. That's not, of course, Satnus and me. That's actually Satnus and Skit. But the team name actually is Satnus and I. Anyway, so we will be having a little bit of a mirror matchup, which is always entertaining to see for the in the least respects. Warm team, I would say, definitely has the advantage in terms of rune placement. However, just to defy me, Cold team picks up the rune right off the bat. Skit getting a little bit line of sighted over here, so naturally Satnus does pop the barrier on there. Nice double sleep between the two alchemists there. Gushi now taking down to about 25% health. Also a double conch shell. That's pretty interesting to say the least. Gushi getting taken down once again from a nice ultimate from Skitchugen. Also Satnus getting hurt a little bit by that ultimate is going to force the barrier, but Satnus is saved by Skit. So Ryu now by himself. I'm sure he might be going down to this ultimate from Skit any moment now. Actually, it could be a double ultimate. Satnus also has his, so there we go. And a nice EMP from Skit. If you're wondering what that was for, it was just to slow down Ryu just a little bit more. So always nice to see those little moves that a team will do. Even though they're in the lead, they just want to get even further in the lead. And that's, of course, the kind of thinking that, in my opinion, makes a good player. So once again, Warm team, that is, actually deciding to switch their positions in the terms of which one's on top, which is interesting to say the least. Warm team this time picking up the rune. Interesting bug there where you can actually see both of them picking it up, but it did not, to say the least. Also, Skit getting pushed back a little bit here, taking down to about 25% health, decides to space across the ultimate. Gushi now down to about 15% health, goes down to a meter. Nice at coordinating that CC there. Taking out the barrier with a Dispel from Satnus right there. Ryu could potentially go down very easily at this point. And that barrier is not going to help him all that much, unfortunately to say. Skit apparently was about to cast a EX ray about there. Probably was going to be Tractor Beam. So, that is 2 rounds in a row for Cold team. We'll see what the Warm team has to offer for this. See if Satnus and I are going on to the second round or not. Ryu does get a deadly inject on Skit, and the barrier on Skit will actually block a little bit of that damage there. Ryu going down to about 25 to about 50% health due to Skit's continued M1 pressure there. And we do see that Skit could actually use an ultimate, but instead uses a enlarge at that moment there. Could see a counter kill. Nope, Ryu does get out of that alive. So that is good for him. And we do see an ultimate with a deadly inject. That was definitely going to be a lot of damage when that went off. So, Warm team, thankfully for them, they're pulling out their first victory here. Showing the Cold team that they're not just going to go without a fight or something to that effect. And we'll see if they can keep up the momentum and hopefully for them pull out the rest of this game. Skit just out of range of that conch shell right there. Warm team getting pushed back quite a bit. And Cold team could get the energy advantage. I'm not sure if maybe Ray was having a problem with his abilities at that moment. He didn't seem like he was casting anything. A deadly inject goes out on Gushi. No barrier to answer for that. And does take him down to about 25% health now. Skitnogen does have his ultimate. There goes the space from Gushi. Unfortunately, that Tractor Beam does take Gushi out of that meter. But Skit apparently apologized for that. Does follow it up with his own meter and takes out Gushi right there. And a little bit of fireworks there from Satnus, because apparently that victory was worth celebrating, but the other two probably were not. Not sure what influences that decision, but I just see the results. Anyway, going into round number 4, we're looking for 2 more victories from Cold Team in order to finish up this series. And Cold Team this time deciding to stay kind of back here. It seems like they're switching up their tactics here. One round they're aggressive, while the next one they are not. We see a double jump over the Warm Team there, and Skid taking a little bit of damage from that meteor. He might want to get out of there pretty soon. He does use his Aegis of Gurgans in order to keep alive for a little bit longer, but that was no match for Gushi's mighty hand cannon. That apparently, I think he's using the old Painless. Oh no, he's using the vacuum cleaner engineer weapon. Oh, I love that weapon. It just looks exactly like a vacuum cleaner. If you've ever seen a vacuum cleaner in my home, you would know what I'm talking about. So, there we go with Warm Team wrapping up their second victory. Hopefully they can keep up the momentum for themselves. We'll see if we get a really close match like the last one there. Nice clarity from Ryu, does dispel that deadly inject there. And Cold Team looks like the position to get to that energy rune. Gushi might have an ultimate. In fact, actually just using a enlarge there. And this conflict looking very symmetrical there. And the only difference is the performance of the Alchemist at that point. A shrink from Gushi does keep Ryu alive for a little bit longer. Maybe Gushi can pull this out. There was a kill and counter kill situation there. Deadly Inject was missed. So really every second that goes by, Gushi is falling farther and farther behind in this situation. And that does not help him there any whatsoever either. And that barrier is going to potentially push back Gushi a little bit. If he uses, there we go, Deadly Inject does take him out immediately. That was probably the most damaging sort of situation that Satnus could have used at that exact moment. I'm a little bit interested about these this mirror matchup here. I have to wonder if that was on purpose. Maybe the Warm Team was actually trolling in the character select. So we do see that the Cold Team was positioned up here, so that allowed for Skitchigen to be positioned in a way to take damage. So we do see an enlarge from Gushi is going to deal a lot of damage to Skitchigen. He's trying to force the space, which there it is, and then here comes the ultimate, taking down Skit to about 25% health. He's going to back up. We see double ultimate from Cold Team right there, and we'll see when that actually gets used. We could see Satnus use it on Ryu or Gushi. Any one of them would work very well. And we do see a counter ult from Ryu does take out Satnus right there. Skitchigen down to 25% health. He could go down to any kind of chip damage. There we go. And Warm Team almost about to tie up this series. The Cold Team does need to bring one more victory out. But Warm Team's coming up from the rear. They are showing that they could potentially pull out these next 2 rounds as victorious, and we would see a complete turnaround of what we've been seeing so far. So let's see if Warm Team's got what it takes to pull this out. Definitely looking good with their positioning over the rune right there, but Skitchigen does jump in at right the exact moment, taking down Gushi to about 25% health. There goes a meteor, takes out the barrier that was in fact blocked. Ryu dispelling the Deadly Inject upon himself. Still, Gushi hasn't really taken all that much damage since that first burst. Now Satnus has his ultimate, decides to use it on Ryu and a Tractor Beam in order to pull him in. So he's mitigating as much damage as he can, but still gets taken down to 15% health. Gushi's still at 50 right here. He's been doing a good job at mitigating it. Skitchigen could get ulted, but instead decides to ult on Satnus, who did still have his barrier. So that is potentially going to cause Warm Team to lose to Satnus and I. There we go. Congratulations to Satnus and I. They are going to round number 2. And we will be looking at game number 3 right now. Welcome back to game number 3. We have Gay Sopa right here with somebody whose name I will be pronouncing as Station. And on the cold team. Definitely an evil laugh coming from them for sure. So we will see what... there we do see a space from the warm team. I was expecting him to space given the compositions, and we do see an insect directly onto Station right there, causing the cold team to definitely push up quite a bit, and spell block on the puncturing strike right there is going to allow a little bit less pressure to be done onto the warm team right there. Yurito does pick up the rune right there. That will cause him to pull back a little bit, but yeah, it doesn't seem like the warp team punished that all too much. The Nazi going down to about 25% health thereabouts. Yurito taking a Shadow Bolt to the face directly, point blank that is to say. And Axion is doing quite a bit of pressure there. We could see an ultimate from Yurito, and definitely we do, but another shift from Station does counteract that, and a EX Affliction does silence Yurito for just a little bit there, does save some damage from Station, and a nice swap there. It allows Dainazi to get out of that fear directly. Could see another ult from Station, does get a little bit slowed down by those EX insects, and action directly on Dainazi is causing huge amounts of damage, going down to about 25% health. Yurito jukes that spell block, very nicely done. Axion going down to 15% health to Dainazi right here, and dodging that silence from Station right there. Action jumping on to Station, but Station decides to jump out of there, and popping his A just right when he has full recovery health. That was a little bit of a mismanagement in my opinion right there. Another dodge of that silence by Yurito. He's going to jump on to Dainazi. Dainazi uses his ultimate right then and there. Is going to actually not do all that much damage. Nice cloak from Axion, and Axion does go down, but Dainazi might actually go down as well. He does get feared and a space, but Dainazi does use a other side and another shift, and down goes Yurito. I keep on wanting to say burrito. And that of course makes me giggle. So that was a very hectic round. Usually I have something to say, like one team definitely did this and the other team. And in fact, this round, that last round was pretty even in my opinion. And we do see once again Station getting hit by those bugs. Does decide to not use his another shift this time. And Action deciding to take the initiative does allow Yurito to take the energy rune at that point. Axion taking a little bit of damage, 400 going out on him right then and there, and Station switching off onto Yurito. Yurito does have his ultimate, using that possession in order to lock Dainazi in space right there. So we could see Station use his ultimate right there. He definitely does, and that's going to allow him to heal up in this confrontation against Axion. Axion did not want to be in that situation there. Dainazi going down to 25% health, now 15, is a little bit cornered right there, and Orb of Darkness is spell blocked right then and there. Dainazi taking even more pressure, gets put into the corner and overkilled right then and there. Station could potentially pull this out. He does have enough self-healing in order to operate without a healer, but getting puncturing strike right there is not too good for him. Down to 15% health. Now Axion using his ultimate takes out the Harbinger before he can space out. That is a very quick timing that happens right there. Between when the Harbinger throws himself out and when he actually disappears. So that is that's a little bit interesting right there. Station deciding to space in, as he's always been, deciding to use a fear instead of insects from Yurito. This kind of pressure does push back the warm team every round, and Yurito is allowed to sit right next to the rune, but Station decides to jump in and grab it. This time we'll see what he decides to use that energy for if it comes out so early like that. And Dainazi using his Aegis right at that point does mitigated a little bit of damage right there. Seishin has already popped his ultimate, but he's actually taking more damage than he's dealing at that point. Yurito has his ultimate, decides to use an EX Sphere in order to close the distance right there. Actually, going down to about 50% health, does decide to get out of there at the right time. Yurito using another EX Sphere instead of an ultimate. Dainazi now has his, but he's down to 15% health. He might... There he goes. Use an ultimate, or I mean not an ultimate, a medallion or something to that effect. And a silence onto Axion does come off on time in order for him to dodge that Shadow Bolt. Very nice timing from him. And Dainazi using another side in order to escape from that medallion could cause him to go down quite a bit for continued pressure. There he goes. He's line-of-sighted, so Seishin does jump into that. And a little bit of an M1 war between these two DPSers here. Not all that much real health loss into that situation. Dainazi almost going down, is actually Black Daggered and to other side, so he might have a little bit of a chance to escape here. And of course, once the star is onto you, it's a little bit hard to get away. He does use an EX Sphere in order to cause that to happen, but Seishin blood grips him back in. That might have been a little bit of a mismanage there. And back, more pressure onto Dainazi. He does go down to an M1 by Yurito at that point there, and does use his Nether Shift. Seishin, he's trying to stay alive for as long as possible. He uses an Affliction, but Yurito, he just decides, hey, you know what, if you're going to use a ability that heals yourself and damages me, then hell, I'm just going to use my ultimate, and that heals me and damages you. So which one of those wins? And apparently that is Blood Priest Ultimate. Who knew that an ultimate could actually do better than a Q? Who knew, really? Anyway, so on to round number 3. We'll see what the response from Warm Team is. Seishin getting a little bit better at dodging those insects coming from Yurito, and he knows that it's going to happen. And Warm Team in general is doing a little bit better at pushing back the Cold Team. Seishin did end up getting that energy rune and has profited quite a bit. Axion going down to about 25% health, decided to push back Yurito because Axion was way back there a little bit. And now Seishin has his ultimate, decides to pop it directly onto Yurito. The Blood Shield was on Axion, so that allows him to do more damage to Yurito at that point. Meteor actually missed right there. And the Affliction does take you down Yurito to about 50% health, that is to say. And Dainazi, been staying out of the action, has not taken all that much, still at full health in terms of normal plus recovery. Action going down to 15% health, does decide to heal himself up using the cloak there. And a ultimate from Yurito does cause the other side to be popped, so a lot of damage could go out onto Daisen right there from Axion. And meanwhile, Seishin is trying to do as much as he can against Yurito right there. Does dodge the fear using the Nether Shift. Yurito trying to get out of there. Space is on cooldown for Seishin. Does get hit by a meteor right there. Trying to peel Dainazi. That other side might have been premature, but that does take out Axion right there. That Shadow Bolt did in fact deal quite a bit of damage. In fact, it was a back hit. So, and predicting exactly where Seishin was going to space using that fear, and EX Silence onto Yurito does cancel out the ultimate. Seishin might be having some issues. We know that we've had some lag issues in this tournament before. And right now, it looks like Warm Team is just trying to play safe because they know that if they have the advantage, if the fog comes in, they're definitely going to win. But if they make a mistake right now, Yurito could definitely do a lot of damage and change that up dramatically. So they played safe. They waited for a situation where Yurito was forced to use all of his outs, and then they bursted him down. And that was theoretically the right choice at that exact moment. And in fact, it did tie them up in this series 2-2. So it's anybody's game at this point. Cold Team definitely having the momentum in the very start. Nice Shadow Bolt from Station right there. Does in fact hit Axion right there. And We are seeing Warm Team get pushed back. This has not seemed to been very good for them in the past. So we're going to see if they try to get back towards the rune. But Dainazi instead turning back towards this box here. And Station has his ultimate decide to pop it in order to, looks like, do a spam of Shadow Bolts. But he's just getting hit by CC after CC. And down to 25% health. Axion doing a lot of damage there. And another whiffed meteor right there. Action trying to do as much damage to Dainazi as possible. I'm pretty sure other side is off cooldown right then and there. And Uriel, he has his ultimate. He could use it right there just as soon as Nether Shift comes off cooldown. Quarian down to 25% health, does get healed up by his M1s there, but Dainazi at the same time went down to about 25% health as well. Action needs to get healed up. There we go. And could see Action do a little bit more damage to Station right there. Station's down to about 15% health. Does get healed up. And other side, so Dainazi is a little bit weak at this point. Does get switched onto, but uses an EX Scream in order to fear. Eurito down to 15% health. And Station almost uses his Aegis at the right timing. He does take a little bit of damage through that, though. And Action, and just right the position to do some damage right here. Does use this Aegis in order to help with that a little bit. And mostly seeing a lot of EXs coming out of both of these teams. Eurito so close to death right there, but a puncturing strike from Axion does save his life. Axion does not have any recovery health. There he goes, gets topped off again once more. However, he did go down to about 15% for a little while there. Dainazi taking a bit of damage, decides to use an EX Scream. Eurito dodges the silence right there using an EX Fear. Very nice there, but Axion goes down. Some of those M2s were in fact missing, and Dainazi using his other side in order to dodge that Fear, once again staying in the lead there. And down goes Eurito. So, Warm Team picking back up the lead, taking some momentum back for themselves, and potentially turning this around. We're looking for 2 more wins from them, and this could be decided in their favor. We'll see what the response from Cold Team is, see if they have what it takes to even this back up. They are kind of shying back a little bit, giving Red Team their space right there. And Station is capitalizing on that by spamming his Shadow Bolt button right there. Action does pick up the rune right there and decides to go onto Station. A little bit of a healer battle over here, does not do all that much. Now Eurito down to 25% health there. And we're going to see if Dainazi does actually pull off a little bit of kiting against Action. In fact, Action is taking more damage than he's dealing at this moment here. Of course, Quarian is in fact not getting healed that much, so now he's down to about 25% health as well. Meteor onto Dainazi, that was very nice timing. Action down to 15% health, does get a blood shield just in time for that to not count. And Action also goes down right there to an M1 from Station. At that point, Eurito deciding to stop moving. Apparently, he knows that he's not going to win in a 1 versus 2 in that sort of situation. He has already tried that once before, and it apparently didn't work out. So, just going to go into what could potentially be the last round here. Looking for one more round from Warm Team. Definitely looked like the underdogs for a little while, but deciding to, I'm not sure what they decided, what they changed, just switching around. It could have even been a lag issue maybe. And now pulling out some nice moves in order to zone out this rune. However, Cold Team's still going to grab it up. Still, this advanced behavior is benefiting them a little bit in these last few rounds. And Dainazi taking a whole bunch of damage. Meteor right there does take him down to 25% health. And Station does get hit by bugs, so he's not able to peel all that much. We do have an M1 spell blocked right there. And an ultimate coming from Eurito. Doesn't do all that much damage. Only one body actually hit the Station Harbinger there. And Axion full up on health, so Yurito is able to kite as much as once. And Axion doing a good job at staying up. We do see other side coming from Dainazi, so we're going to probably see a little bit more pressure onto him for a little while. In fact, Worm Team staying up on their recovery health for a very long time. Both teams, in fact, doing that. Not all that much pressure going on to Yurito, so he's able to just hold down the M2 button as much as he wants. There goes the M1 spell block onto Yurito. Seishin does not have any recovery health, down to 25% health. Might be going for the energy rune, decides to space back in. He's at 15% health, but still in it. He has his recovery health at almost full. And Yurito at 50% health. And Seishin does go down to that. We see an ultimate coming from Yurito there. The Nazi could go down any second there. There it goes down to Axion's M1 in the back. And we might see a turnaround from a turnaroundception here. And we might be seeing that from the Cold team. If they get one more round, we're definitely going to be going into an ace match and seeing what happens there. Once again, advanced positioning from Worm Team. Yurito does land his insects just like the first round, so that's going to push back Worm Team just a little bit more. So this is looking a little bit more like the first round than these last couple have definitely been. Seishin deciding to Nether Shift in, and Dainazi going down to almost about 25% health. We see an ultimate come from Yurito, does take down Seishin to about 50% health there. But some counter pressure onto Yurito takes him down to about 75. And Dainazi just pretty much taking all of those M1s there until his spell block came off of cooldown, using the Aegis directly after he had topped himself out on recovery health there. Yurito down to about 50% health, does have a buffer to block him though. And Dainazi just trying to play the kite game for as long as possible. He can definitely do that since he has the Harbinger. And going down to some more M1 pressure to 15% health and an ultimate on him. Puncturing Strike does guarantee a couple of hits off of that. And we could see how far this ultimate does go from Seishin. And a meter onto Dainazi is going to slow down his healing a little bit. Black Dagger onto Seishin is going to stop his pressure for a little while. Fear onto Axion did stop his pressure for a little while too. So it looks like race of who can kill the healer faster, but unfortunately for Seishin, Yuri does have a lead in the health. But going down to 15% health there isn't going to help his case all that much. Dainazi doing an okay job at taking care of that stalker for a little while there. And Yuri not looking all that much better for wear. Seishin does get his last stand, popped one last time, and could potentially go down to M1 pressure there, taking out a little bit of his recovery health. And a meter from Fear forces him into another shift, and Yurito just continuing this kite action a little bit further. And nice meter from Seishin. And Dainazi could almost go down, but he uses his other side. And we could see actually his spell block does hit the ultimate from Yurito. And Yurito does go down to Seishin at that point there. Seishin just needs to figure out where his healer is. And both of them making sure to top themselves off on recovery health. Action could take out either one of them. In fact, in a fog situation, Action will win. He has the advantage in normal health, so they just need to chip off as much damage as possible. And also, fearing him out would be pretty good. In fact, an EX space probably would have been good too. So, congratulations to Gay Sopa for their win. They are going to go on to round number 2, and we're going to look at game number 4 right now. Welcome back to game number 4. We have Ilos MKJK, but seriously, I think, versus Torny Cuz 2 Sis Lame. Also, I think, I'm not too sure what either one of those names mean, but I'll probably figure out in about 2 seconds. So we're going to see these teams duking out on debacos. We see Worm Team deciding to space off here. Does have his taunt spell block at that time there. Dodger using his Kunju and his Green Shield at that time there. and a nice meteor onto Dodger right there. Does take him down to about 75% health. Taunt takes him down to 50, that is, and a meteor onto Yard takes him down to 75, and popping his Aegis right off the bat, doing a little bit of damage, trying to get out of here, but Dodger's going to have none of that. And EX bugs onto Yard does not help him all that much. Maxbow uses his ultimate and potentially could be doing a little bit of damage here, but Yard is trying to do as much pressure onto EXBow as much as possible. And do see a swap there. Horngil does go down to about 50% health, but using his EX Sphere does peel off some pressure there. He had his spell block on his space at that point. Maxbow down to 25% health, uses his Aegis, and Dodger pushed off to the side there by that shield bast, and instead decided to use his Wuju, even though he might not have all that much pressure on him at that time. Uses his EX space from Dodger. Dodger, once again, whiffing a Wuju, does not help him all that much with the pressure. A spell block onto War Axe right there, and Blood Shield going out onto Yard. There is a blind onto Dodger, so that ensured a fear onto him. Maxbow going down to 15% health there. His last stand does go up. However, because of the positioning, he was not able to get any more pressure there. Dodger has no recovery health, but does manage to get healed a little bit there. Could see an ultimate, there we go, from Dodger, but it's instantaneously reflected. And we're seeing Maxbow using just about everything that he can in order to get out of this, and could potentially die to that right there. So anyway, so really aggressive behavior from Warm Team, and that was potentially what might have caught Cold Team off guard. I have to wonder if Dodger is like the YouTube personality Dodger, huh? Just wonder. Anyway, so once again seeing some aggressive behavior from Warm Team, a little bit of pressure going out on Maxbow causes him to use his other side right there. And Dodger using Runic Shield, but not all that much damage was prevented by it, and we see Yar goes down to about 75% health from some pressure right there, and trying to relieve some of that damage. Does use his Aegis right there. Dodger going down to almost 50% health. There it goes. And some insects on him, not sure what's going on for him, and it goes into a fear state right there because of that AoE. Maxbow trying to shift out of there, but that didn't work out too well. Dodger down to 15% health, could go down at any time. See a ultimate from him is countered by an intercept from Yar. Maxbow trying to relieve a little bit of pressure there, does using the X base on Yar. And once again, seeing kind of like a reset from either one of these teams. Dodger could go down. Nope, decides to kind of dodge out of that. And a little bit of damage from that meter there. And a CC onto Hornger there. And basically we're seeing kind of a turtle style from either player. Dodger taking a lot of damage from those EX insects, taking down to about 25% health or so, somewhere around there. And Maxbow going down to 15, could potentially go down. Does pop its ultimate. And a space into intercept from Yard does take out Dodger. So once again we're seeing Maxbow all by himself once again. Could go down to any bit of chip damage, use his other side, kind of dances around in that center area, and that's going to cause the second victory for Warm Team. See what kind of response that Cold Team has to this. It could potentially be that they are not doing enough kiting or something to that effect. We'll see what they try next for sure. We do see a kiting space from Dodger right there. And not so much kiting from Maxbow as he moves into Yar a little bit, going off of screen. Thank you very much. And a little bit of damage going on to Maxbow. Does take him down to about 75% health here. And Maxbow's already used his ultimate. A insects into Meteor almost hits Dodger, but a nice space from Maxbow takes him out of that. A complimentary Runic Shield coming from Dodger in order to compensate for that. And we see both players on the Cold team down to about 75% health. Now Maxbo down to 50. And we see almost a little bit of a reset back towards the rune. Warm team does manage to pick it up. And a ultimate from Yar, the first one of the game, onto Maxbo. Takes him down to 25% health. And an Insect's Interfere onto Maxbo does take him off into that position there. That's not too good for him. Dodger trying to get into any way that he can to get back to Maxbo. Not very good space from him does cause that to be on cooldown now. Yar continuing onto the pressure here and does get hit by a meter at that point there. We're going to see Dodger does pull up the rune, but an intercept from Yard kind of pushes him out of that situation there. And Maxbo does pop his Aegis, but it's not helping him all that much. He's down to about 25% health. Dodger had his ultimate, but decided to use an EX instead. And nice spell block onto Yard. Takes out Shield Bash at that moment. And another Aegis onto Maxbo. Dodger almost has his ultimate up. Could see it go out onto Yar since he's all by himself over there. In fact, it was canceled by Maxbo using other side. That wasn't good. And Maxbo could go down at any second here. He definitely... Oh, instead, Dodger goes down. He was left alone by Maxbo and then collapsed upon by Warm Team. So it looks like this is going to get cleaned up. That might have been a reflected soul link there. That was a little bit interesting. So, anyway, I'm not sure what I was talking about there. I was a little bit intercepted, so to speak, by that sudden ending there. And we're looking for 2 more rounds from Warm Team. It looks like they might be able to pull this game out with a complete perfect, no losses to the Cold team. We definitely would like to see one win from the Cold team. And Warm Team in this really nice positioning up here does, and Maxbo is going to pull up the energy there. So now they're going to just kind of do the kiting maneuver over into this box here. Does separate Yar, so Horinger does have to use his space in order to get into this position in order to heal. And could see Dodger use his ultimate. Sometimes it's getting a little bit close there. Maxbo down to 50% health here. Trying to heal up as much as possible. Dodger has his ultimate, but gets taunted, so that's going to intercept that. Does not seem like he has successful ult at all. Dodger getting hit by a meter into Shield Bash. It does take him down to about 25% health. And Warm Team looking really good here. Yar possibly spacing into the ultimate. There it is. Maxbo almost down to 25% health. Dodger just trying to kite a little bit more. Then down to 15% health for Dodger. Could go down. There he goes down. Maxbo, once again, all by himself, decides to use a defensive meter, but that actually going to hurt him because there was a blood shield onto Yar. So, wrapping up their 4th round in a row from Warm Team. Definitely seeing very decisive wins. Speaking of how much health they have left over after that victory, definitely showed that they took very little damage and also managed to have heals ready whenever they did. And we're just going to keep on seeing more aggressive tactics from the Warm Team. Maxbo uses his other side right there into defensive meter, but it doesn't hit anything. The Blood Priest does pick up the rune right there. Dodger down to 15% health there. And additionally also Maxbo. So they're going to have a little bit of a hard time coming back from this one. Essentially a 200% fight. Dodger getting hit by every single one of those bodies in the Blood Priest ultimate. And going down to about 25% health. And once again his ultimate is interrupted by a space from the Blood Priest. That's not too good for him. Maxbo getting shot off out of sight. Not too sure what's going on over here. All that's happening I can see is that Maxbo is taken down to 15% health. And Blood Priest has his ultimate one more time. Dodger getting hit by 2 of those at the same time. And Maxbo does go down to Yar. And Dodger does get his trance procced at that point there. And does go down. So, congratulations to I lost MK, just kidding, but seriously, for their victory. They're going on to round number 2, which we will be watching right now.